Hello and welcome to another Get There Challenge video. Today we're going to be looking at the Windy Walkway Challenge on the skate park level in Pro Skater 1. Like last time, the full run will be first, and after that I'll break down each section one by one. There are timestamps in the description if you just want to skip ahead. The reward for this challenge is the dinner party board, and along with that the 2000 XP and 1000 bones in cash. This one ended up taking me a long time to get down, and if you're like me, it was really frustrating. So I hope this video will make this at least a little easier for you. There are some very specific techniques I had to use to get this one done. So let's get to the run and I'll see you on the other side. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at that challenge again. It's telling us to connect the walkway rail transfer, the over the box, the wall gap junior, the around the bend, and the HP transfer gaps in a single combo. Now that's a lot of gaps to do in a single combo, and like last time, the order doesn't matter. As long as you get all the gaps in one combo, it'll get you the challenge. So let's go through the run again, and I'll talk about the line that I took to get this one done. And we're right in. So in order to start this challenge off, we're going to ramp up to the walkway up here to start us at the walkway rail transfer gap. If you didn't know, you can use the triggers to do transfers between ramps, but you can also use the trigger to level yourself out in midair in case you don't have a ramp to land on. You'll see that in a little bit, and throughout the run, just watch the trigger indicator on my display there. And here we are at the first gap of our challenge, the walkway rail transfer gap. So the gap itself is this jump here to this rail. After that, we're just going to go straight forward, and that'll lead us to the setup for our second gap. Excellent, so here we are coming up on the second gap in our challenge, the over the box gap. So coming out of that first gap, we don't have a lot of speed, so we're going to utilize the ramp on our left here to get us that speed we need to jump the gap. And then I'll talk about the quirks of this specific gap, because there are some, and I'll talk about exactly how to take it. If you're new to the Tony Hawk series, if you noticed just then, in order to maintain the combo coming off of that ramp, I had to use the right trigger to revert into a manual, and that will maintain the combo you had coming into the ramp once you come off of it. So moving on to the gap, directly in front of us is the box that we need to jump over. In fact, the whole box extends all the way to the left, and you can jump over any part of it as long as you don't touch it. Now I say that, but that's not actually true, and I'll talk about the quirk of it here in a second. The line we're going to take is going to lead us this way, and the reason why we take the right side of this box as opposed to maybe that middle part that might seem easier is because we need to be closer to that right side of the quarter pipe to take us into the half pipe and onto our next gap. If you notice here, I'm actually using the bottom part of the box to take this jump, and funnily enough, you can actually use the box to get the gap. The problem is if you jump too late, you won't get the gap. And this ended up being incredibly frustrating for me because I didn't understand why I wasn't getting the gap sometimes, and sometimes I was. But the point is, you're supposed to jump over the box entirely, but if you ollie just late enough, you can use the ramp to get you extra height. So that's what we're doing here. We're ollieing as soon as we touch that ramp. So as soon as you touch it, you can jump and complete that gap. If you ollie too late, you will not get the gap and you would have to start over. So let's see what that looks like. Excellent. So you've just gotten past the most difficult part, in my opinion, of this challenge. So we're going to continue on reverting and then manualing over and hopping over to this tiny ramp on the right. And this is the HP transfer part of our challenge. That was close. So moving forward, we're going to be taking the wall gap junior, and the gap itself is the little box with the rail on it. So there are actually two gaps on this box. So on the right of the box, there's a little wall, and that's called the wall gap. And if you jump over the rail instead, that's the wall gap junior. So we're going to be doing that. This one is fine to use the ramp, so use it as much as possible. And then after that, we're going to continue over to the pool. All right, here we are at the final gap of our challenge, the around the bend gap. And all this one is grinding around the pool one full rotation. So sometimes I was able to get the around the bend gap without grinding the entirety of the pool. Sometimes it would pop around the 50% mark, the 75% mark. I'm not sure what governs it, but be ready to grind the entirety of the pool for this gap. Hello again, and if you're listening to me now, I would just want to quickly thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. It really does mean a lot to me. I really hope this video helped you complete this challenge, and if it did, please let me know in the comments. There are a lot more challenges in this game to go through, and that's not just Pro Skater 1, but Pro Skater 2 as well. If subscribing is something you would like to do, I would really appreciate it. And until next time, I will see you later. Stay safe.